Hey everybody, it's Elizabeth and we are live. I am at the campground and decided to do this outside today since it's such a beautiful day, and we'll just sit out here and talk for a little while. I have had just a little while to figure out some of the pros and cons of this particular Facebook Live thing. And so I know this time is going to be better than it was the last time. I'm feeling much better, first of all. And secondly, I've had time to mess around with this. This is new technology for me. I've never done anything live like this. And so I had to test it out and see, just how it works. Like, I didn't know that it starts taping immediately. I thought it waited until somebody else jumped on and joined you. So now I'm going to take some of the things that I learned and we'll do this a little better this time. Like I said, I'm at the campground. We're right outside of Washington, D.C. This is a campground. We do have cars coming through and there are a couple of kids here. So if you do hear them, then I apologize, but it's not something I can cut out since we're live. I have sophisticated equipment here. Let me show you. I wasn't able to find my clip for the cell phone, so I don't have to sit and hold it. So I now have my tuna cans that I'm just going to prop it up against. So just to let you see, it's just us. I'm just here with my cell phone, sitting here at the picnic table, and we're going to talk about dreaming. And the reason I chose this topic was because I have, for those of you who don't know, I have a history of mental illness, which was diagnosed as dissociative identity disorder. That used to be called multiple personality disorder. And for the majority of my life, it wasn't a problem. It was the solution to my problems. I had a very abusive childhood, and that was one of the ways that I learned how to cope. So for a long time, it wasn't a disorder for me. It didn't become a disorder until I hit right around the age of 39 or 40, and then it became very disordering, meaning the people in my system were not working together, we weren't talking, there were quite a few that didn't know that the others were there, including me, and that's when I became introduced to the system, is when I went into therapy for it. So it became a disorder for me for that solid 18 months that I did intense therapy. And by intense, I mean that I showed up 2 and 3 days a week for sometimes 3 to 5 hour sessions in order to learn what the problem was and how to cope. So during that time, and up until that time, there was no such thing as dreaming about something else or doing something else other than that. There was just getting through the day, getting through the moment, getting through the next 24 hours, the next week, the next month. I had a full-time job that I came into. I had 2 kids and a husband, and things were in extreme disorder. So I couldn't dream then, and I didn't think about what comes after or what the possibilities were for my life after. It just wasn't something that even crossed my mind. I was too busy taking care of that now moment. And so I'd quit dreaming is what it was. So after I finished that time period when it was a disorder for me, that 18 months, then all of a sudden I had a whole lot of time to look at where I am, what I'm doing, and what do I want to do with the rest of the time that I have while I'm here. I did not want this life to be for nothing. And so I began searching and began to try to dream again of something bigger, something better than just the trauma that I was going through. Now, I am doing this, as you can see, I'm going to have to go back in and get my notes. I am doing this just you and me, ad lib. This is live. I did take some notes. I do have the topic, but I decided to just be here with you, just to show up, and we'll talk about this. If you have questions or comments, then please leave them in the comment section. And as soon as I can, I'll get back to them and answer them. I'm going to go back in here and get my notebook. I forgot it. And then we will keep going. Hey, Cindy. Give me my notebook, please. The yellow. Yeah. Yeah. That's it. Thank you. Okay, so back to where we were. Got my handy dandy notes now. Just a couple of things that I jotted down so I don't have to spend the majority of this time just rambling. I also wanted to give you some ideas. This is just, I am not selling anything. I am not asking you to change anything about you. I'm just sharing what I went through and in the hopes that it helps someone else. Okay. So here we are again. So anyway, I quit dreaming. It just never crossed my mind to think about what comes after this, what comes after I deal with this. So I was left with a whole bunch of time and nothing to do with it. And I had no clue what I wanted to do. You know, when I came back, I was gone for 27 years out of the 40 that this body has been on the earth. And when I got back, I didn't have a clue what I wanted to do, what I enjoyed, what my favorite anything was. So I just had to start testing things out, trying different things, see if I like it and if I didn't. And I had to start where I was. It was not something that I had to build up to, and it wasn't something that I had to do certain things to get to. I had to start where I was. And I went to, at the invitation of a friend, I went to a retreat weekend. I had no idea what a retreat was, what they did, what they were going to offer, what we were going to do there. But I decided to attend because, why not? You know, it was something new. So I went to the retreat weekend and I began to explore me, my likes, my dislikes. I began to make lists of things, and I'd never done that before. So I sat down and I started to dream. And I started small. Now, why is it important to dream? The dreaming is important because, first of all, it gives meaning to our everyday. If I don't decide on something to do, then I'm either going to spend the day bored or depressed, and I didn't want to do that. So it gives my life meaning. It also gives my life direction. I can't decide where I want to be, where I want to go, if I don't know what I like or what I don't like. And it also gives me a purpose. Once I've finished everything, and by finished everything I mean I got through the therapy and was left with the big what now, I had to decide, oh, what am I going to use this for? And I didn't know. And the only way to know is to start dreaming. So I began really, really small. And I decided I really wanted to take my two kids, who were still young at the time, I wanted to take them to an amusement park. And so I decided to, with the kids, let's see if we can win some tickets. And we started filling out postcards, and we started sending in requests, and we decided, let's see if this works. And so we sent an unbelievable amount of postcards, and I can't tell you how much money I sent on postage, but the kids and I had a great time doing it. And I knew if I just stick with this, I'm going to get somewhere. I may not win tickets there, but we were spending time together anyway, so why not? Well, fast forward, we did win the tickets, and the kids not only had a great time, I did too. What? A fly. You believe that? Hey, Leanna. Now I'm pumped. I put something out there, something I decided I really wanted to do. I found a way to do it, even though I didn't have the money to do it. I found a way to do it. We won the tickets. We went. We had a great time. So that started my next to-do list, the things that I wanted. But I was keeping it within the money that I was receiving, and I couldn't dream very big because I didn't have the extra money. Like I said, when we went on that trip, I didn't have the money to do that either. So when I went to one of those retreat weekends, the teacher, the leader, told us to dream big. And I didn't know what that meant until she explained, do this without money in mind. If you had all the money in the world, what would you do? Who would you be? Where would you go? How would you spend your days? If money were not an object, where would you take yourself? Where would you go? And so the first time I began to allow myself to dream and to really dream big. And the kids, of course, were watching, and they wanted to see what I'd do with it. We'd already won tickets, so they were excited about that. I really needed a car. I know, big, right? She said dream big, and I really needed a car. And it's really important when I was dreaming to really get specific about what I wanted. I can't just say to the universe, I need a car, and let it go. I needed to get specific. So I sat down and I wrote out exactly what I wanted. The make, the model, the years, how many miles it had on it, what kind of upkeep it would need. I wanted it to be big enough for my family. I didn't even have in mind exactly which vehicle would be good enough, but I was open. I got specific enough, but I was open to what may come along. And every time, and I looked at this, I wrote it down, and I looked at it several times a day, every day, for weeks. And I would talk about it with the kids. You know, we're getting a car. And they'd say, where's the car coming from? I don't know yet, but I've ordered it. I've put it on order. So we started looking forward to the car coming. And I started preparing for the car coming. I cleaned out the one I had. I was deciding what I needed to do with it so that when the new one came, I could get rid of it. And we just waited. And every time the kids asked, Mom, we don't see the car yet. Where's the car? When's it coming? I'd say, hang on, it's coming. I don't know where it's coming from yet. I don't know what color it's going to be. I don't even know what kind it's going to be yet, but it's coming. And it came. I got my first almost brand new vehicle. No, not for free. I would love to say, yeah, I won it just like we did the tickets, but it wasn't for free. Here was the missing thing. I had to take a step. I had to take a step to find it. I knew that once I put that out there, it wasn't just going to land in my lap. I knew I was going to have to take steps in order to get there. So the first thing I did is I went to a dealership and I started looking at cars because I had no clue what I wanted, but I knew I had to get specific. So I started looking. And for several weekends, I went to different car places looking to see what I liked. I test drove several and looked at all the features. And every time I did that, I went back to that original listing and I got a little more detailed. I like this, I don't like that. This is what I'd rather have. And so I'd start really refining that picture in my mind. When I wasn't seeing it coming, I decided, okay, I need to do something else. So I created a dream board. A dream board is simply a poster board or a piece of paper with pictures and words on it to help you visualize what it is you want. So I began to do vision boards. I'd never done one before. I'd seen a couple and I thought, psh. But at this point, I really wanted this car, and I decided I'm going to do everything within my power to get it. So I'm going to show up, I'm going to take the steps, and we're going to see if this works. So I did the dream board. And I had all kinds of pictures of the car that I wanted. But I kept saying, I'll take this or better. Whatever comes along, I'm open. And at the same time, I have an internal guidance system, and you do too. whether you know it or not. And I'm not talking about people in our system. I'm talking about that small voice that you hear above the chaos and in the quiet moments in your life that tells you, yes, do this, no, don't do that. It interrupts sometimes when you're in danger. Sometimes when you see something that doesn't feel right, it talks to you. I'm talking about that little voice, that internal guidance system. So this entire time I'm talking to that internal guidance system too, saying, I'm doing everything that I can. Let me know if there's something else that I need to be doing. And if there was something else that I needed to be doing, let's say I went by another car place and saw another car, I'd get the nudge. I'd get that little, you need to go check that out. And so I'd follow that each and every time. I wasn't seeing it come to play, and I didn't know how it was going to come around. And Cindy and I began talking, and she had a really cool car, and I liked her car. And this was before we decided to date. And she said to me, I really, really want a new car. And I said, great, I'll go out looking with you. So we started looking for her a new car. Long story short, she found hers and said, I need to sell this one. Why don't you just buy this one? There was my car. I didn't know how it was going to come about. It didn't look exactly like the pictures that I had put on there, but it was so close. It was so similar to the pictures and the descriptions that I had on the dream board. I knew this is my opportunity, and it came at a time when I could make the payments and afford it. And so I said thank you and welcomed in my new car. So I learned by dreaming small that I could let myself dream bigger. And I still do that to this day. I still make dream boards when I feel like something's not coming about. And I still take the time away to do the dreaming so that I can figure out where I want to go and what I want to do. When I finished doing the therapy, I knew I wanted to do something big, but I didn't know how. And I didn't know what exactly I wanted to do. But I knew I needed to share it in some big way. And here today, I sit on Facebook Live. I don't know even if this is what it's going to look like in the future. I don't know that I'll continue this. But it's a step in that direction of sharing this. So, how did I do it? First of all, I sit down and I look at anything that shows that I have decided I like to do or have shown an interest in. And I label it out, A, B, C, and D, however long the list goes. And I label it A, B, C, and D, and according to how much I want to do that, be that, experience that, go there, or have that thing in my life. And I'll label it an A. The next one, I'll label a B. And the next one is C, and so on, until I've covered the entire list. And I sit down and I dream up these things, and it doesn't matter how much it would cost to go to Australia. But if I want to go, I'm going to put it on this list. So, I put it on the list. Once I have listed everything that I want to do, be, have, go, own, see, and I've listed in A, B, C, D, E, or F order, then I go through and then I look at all the A's and decide, out of these, what's my number 1? What's my number 2? What's the number 3? What's the number 4? And I put those in numeral orders. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then I look at all of the A1s and decide, now, if I want to go to Australia, if A1, if in the A's, the number 1 thing that I want to do or see is, let's say, go to Australia, then I look for pictures, things that remind me of that, things that might bring that back to my thought processes and keep it in my thoughts daily. And I might make a dream board with that. Or I had a phone call come in. I don't know if I cut out or not. Sorry. Or I might put it on a refrigerator. It might be something just on a Post-it note that I keep close by. And I look at that every day. And I ask myself the question, is there something I need to do to make this come true? Is this something there's something I need to do in order to get there, in order to do that, in order to be there? If I get the nudge from my internal guidance system that says, yes, you do, then I ask, okay, what is it? For this particular thing, I might need to contact a travel agent. Since I live in an RV, I may need to figure out if I could actually take an RV over there. There's a step that I can take every day to get to that first goal. The second thing I have to do is decide when I want to do it, or when I want to be it, when I want to see it. I've got to set a date. If I can't set a date, then I'm not ready. There's something else that needs to be done. I need to look at the steps that I'm taking. Then I've got to take that step. I could never have gotten that car if I hadn't gone looking for it. I know that. There's steps that we've got to take. When I was dealing with the disorder part of my life, I didn't have time to dream. I didn't have time to sit out and decide what I like, what I don't like. I didn't have time to take the steps to get there. So if you're dealing with something right now that's taking all your attention, then focus your attention there and ask yourself, what do I need to do in order to be able to dream? Because I really wanted to dream in the midst of that, but it just wasn't possible. I needed to address what was going on in the moment in order to get where I wanted to be. Now, everything that I have today, I now work from home. I live full-time in an RV. I travel across the country. That did not happen overnight. It didn't happen with a raffle ticket. And I didn't dream it just once. I didn't make one dream board. Each one of those things was a separate dream on the list that I had to pay attention to, ask what I needed to do, and take steps in order to do it. I had to go out and find those things. They didn't just land in my lap. And I couldn't just say, the universe will bring it to me, and sit still long enough to wait for it. There are things that I had to do in order to get there. And so dreaming, again, involves action, and it takes action steps. But you can begin where you are now. I started dreaming big long before I could take steps to actually get there. I didn't get the RV overnight. It took a lot of planning and about 4 years in order to do that. But I was patient. I listened to my internal guidance system. I took the action steps, and I did it diligently for those 4 years in order to make it happen. So wherever you're at now, dream big. Don't let money, don't let your circumstances, don't let the trauma keep you behind. Not one more day. At some point, we have to decide, I'm done giving my life to this sadness, to that person, to this situation. I'm ready to do something different. And the first step to that is to begin dreaming again. And we can do that one list, one thing at a time. If you'll let yourself, you can do that. Another thing that helped, and helped me tremendously, was I have a wonderful spiritual teacher named Edwene Gaines. And she wrote a book called The 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity. And that was the spiritual retreat I went to. It was for Edwene. It was Edwene Gaines' retreat. It's not that I went for her. I went for me. But in her book, she talks about the 4 spiritual laws, and that there are things that are laws that don't change, and that, what you put out there, you get back. First one being tithing. Now, I'm talking about this as we put things out into the universe, and what we put out, we get back. The easiest way to see that is through money, because money is what we use to barter for goods and services. So the easiest way to see that is through tithing. If I give, I'm going to receive it. And so even though I didn't believe, I started. And I gave 10% of the income that was coming in to the person, place, or institution, music company, artist, who fed me spiritually. And what does that mean, to be fed spiritually? For me, to be fed spiritually means to be reminded that I'm not my trauma, that I am not what happens to me, but I am a divine person that comes from someplace bigger than this. Is going to return to someplace else besides this. It is worth being here. A person who is loved and is something bigger than what happens to me. So I began giving, and I began seeing that come back. Sometimes it was just a little bit here and there, but then it got to be bigger. And so until now, people tithe to me, and I still return it. But the point of tithing is to get into putting things out there, giving, in order to receive. The second thing she talks about is setting goals. We can't get anywhere in a ship that has no rudder. It will just continually go in circles. So I have to have a way to steer my ship. And a way to steer our lives is to set a goal, to do the steps necessary to get there, and to take them one step at a time. I still set goals to this day. I write some of them down, and I repeat them often in order to get there. The third thing is forgiveness. A lot of people don't like to talk about forgiveness. They're like, you know what? So-and-so did this to me, and they don't deserve it, and so I'm not going to do it because what have they done to deserve it? The point of forgiveness is not about what they deserve or what they don't deserve. It's whether or not I want to chain myself to that for my entire life. I went through a radical forgiveness for the people who did horrible things for me. Not because they deserved it, not because they're any better than they were, not because I forgive what they did. It didn't change it. But I forgave them because I didn't want to drag that anchor around with me the rest of my life. And so that's what forgiveness is for me. And it suddenly became easier to dream again once I could let go of what was happening to me because I was hanging on to it. So forgiveness became important. It is still important. And I still have to practice it every day because even the people that I drive around don't get the message that I'm there, and they still are trying to take up space at the same time I do. So I have to practice forgiveness each and every day because I don't want to carry home with me the rude girl at Safeway, which I did the other day, and I turn around and have to forgive her for being rude. I don't want to carry that with me. It stops my dreaming. The last one is to find your purpose and to get on purpose, to find your passion. And I had no clue how to do that. I just had to start one day at a time. And I had to start with one thing at a time. And it started out being an invitation to speak on a Sunday one afternoon. And then after I had done that for a little while, I decided this is not what I want to do with my life. This is not working for me. I had to try different things. And we're never going to find out what that thing is until we try. And it either works or it doesn't. So, I have done painting. I have tried delivering mail. I have tried web development and building websites. I have tried speaking in front of people. I have tried writing. I have tried, you name it, and I've tried it. Some things sticks and some things don't. The only way to find what lights your fire is to try something new. So I encourage you to try something new, wherever you're at. You never know what your passion is going to turn out to be. I don't have a passion for dogs and cats, but I know people that do, and they build wonderful careers around them. And then those careers take them to changing the minds and lives of others. And that's what our passion and our purpose will do. When you get on fire about something that just absolutely, that you enjoy so much, you get up excited the next day to do it. You know you've touched on something that may be your passion. I know somebody who loves to dig in the dirt. And that may be their passion, digging in the dirt, growing beautiful things. They get up every day excited to dig in the dirt. I have another friend who is just absolutely up in the air about what she does for a living. That may be her passion, and for her it's selling insurance. It doesn't matter what it is, but if it gives you an excitement to do it, then run with it. You may be on track to find what your passion is, what your purpose is. I'm still searching for mine. I refine it by trying things and deciding, this isn't for me, or, yeah, I might like to try that again. I may not do another one of these live things because it's really hard to let go of the self-doubt, the self-criticism that goes on at the same time that I'm doing this. But I do think that I'm going to keep trying to put this kind of stuff out there. A little bit more practiced, yes, I need to be, but the only way to get that way is to do it. So, I need to keep trying it and see what happens. I do want your feedback. There aren't a lot of people here with me now, and that's okay. That's all right. I'm holding space, and we're going to dream together. I would love to hear what you've got to say. Is there something that you're dreaming about? Are you having problems or a question that you want an answer to? Let's make this a conversation, and then I'll come back and answer some in a live forum or just do another video or something. I don't know. We'll just have to see. A life after trauma starts with being able to dream again. And if we can't dream, then we stay stuck. You stay stuck in the trauma. You stay stuck in the sadness. You stay stuck. And that's not what life is supposed to be about. Life is supposed to be enjoyable. It's supposed to be fun. And just because I didn't learn that lesson early doesn't mean I can't do anything with my life now. I have made a life I love in the last several years. Will it change? I'm sure it will. I'm getting used to welcoming change with open arms. I don't know what it's going to look like even tomorrow, but there's excitement in that. And that's because I learned how to dream again. Now, I may need to, and I'm sure I probably do, need to get it down pat how to say this more concisely. But it'll come with practice. And I'll do it a step at a time. You can dream big if you'll allow yourself. Sit down with a piece of paper and a pen, or sit in front of your computer, and just let yourself go anywhere, do anything, be anyone you want to be, regardless of what you think it might take to get there. Let go of that and just dream. We can start today, right where we're at. Thanks for joining me, and let me know how I can help you dream too.